Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. I am Beth Roy, an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today we are going to do a fun technique. Oh, and I'm just checking to make sure that I'm live in all my places here. So if you're joining me, good morning. Let me know who's here. Let's see. Facebook hides my things sometimes. So let me know what you've been doing. If you watch the replay, say hi and let me know that you watched the replay. And also, some of these videos will end up over on YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, say hi there as well. And you can always subscribe. My channel is called Stamp and Create with Beth. Good morning, Jenny. Good morning, Vicki. I am just trying to make sure my video is in my event. Oh, it looks like I'm there. Let's see. I'm just testing out some things. I want to see if I can see the comments. Nope. So, yep, there's some new features on Facebook. And I am still trying to learn all these things. Oh, how do I get back here? Okay. So today I want to show you a technique where you make the mirror image of your whatever stamp you want to use. So I typically do this with outline stamps. I personally have not had great success with full stamps that are filled in. So sometimes it's hit or miss for me. Maybe it's just my technique. I don't know. But I have seen lots of different ways and different videos of doing the mirror image. And since I have gotten the Stamparatus, this is, well, now my video's lost. So, I can't win some days. So, this is the easiest way that I have found for me. So, today I'm going to use the Stamparatus, and I'm just trying to find my video again, because when I point down, I'm not going to be able to see what anyone's saying, but, oh, okay, there we go. Okay. Hopefully everything stays rolling. I will warn you, I've had some internet issues. It has been a while since I've really had to worry about the internet because our new internet has been fabulous. But our router box is outdated. So they're sending me a new one. And until then, sometimes my signal just drops. So hopefully it'll work out this morning, because you know me, technology, and all my luck here. Just making sure I didn't miss anybody. Okay, so I want to get started pretty quickly because hopefully more people come on. Hopefully my notifications went out. But again, you know how all those go. So I wanted to show you how I made this card, and I know it's backwards, but so the bird stamp is not this direction. So this is just really a simple stamped card. I just layered everything on there, but I am going to show you some other stamps that I've been playing with and how you can use a die. So this bird doesn't have a die cut that matches, but I do have something else that I stamped, and I want to show you how you can cut the things out that you've reverse image or mirror image or whatever you call it. So again, I'm going to use the Stamparatus for this technique. I think there are some other ways to do it, but this is the easiest way for me, and so I want to share that with you. I'm also going to be using the Silicone Craft Mat, so that is essential to do this technique. Let's see, and I'm just using Memento ink. I do have some basic gray here too that I can show you, and then we'll make a card. But the beauty is we may not make the bird card. You guys are going to let me know what kind of cards you want to make. So I want to point down and kind of get into it so that we have time to complete our card. So let's see how Facebook is doing this morning, or it could be my internet, as we now know. Probably, okay, we're just going to flip it. So here we go. I'm going to change my camera around and point down. And I gotta come. Okay. I think I'm straight. So, this past week for our countdown to Christmas, I think we're on week 9, I used the Peaceful Deer, and so I haven't been playing a lot. It's just been one of those weeks, but I wanted to show you some of the cards that I did post. So I made a non-Christmas card, and I like to use note cards. I also made this cute one, and this deer is patterned, and he goes with the punch. So this can be a bundle, and it says, "Oh, what fun." And then I made this one with just the trees, and I love it. And I actually did up the inside as well. So I haven't made any tags with it yet. I will, and I have some other ideas for the punch. It's such a cute set. And at the end, I'm going to show you some cards that I've gotten recently from my crafty friends, and I want to share off their abilities, or share their abilities, because they make wonderful cards. So, to get started, I just have one plate in my Stamparatus, and I have the silicone mat. Now, we're going to use this. This is called the Silicone Craft Mat. It's $6 in the U.S. in our catalog, and I actually think I'm going to buy a couple more. I use this when we glue. This is when you're gluing things together and the glue does not stick to this, but you can also use it for the reverse image technique. So, and I have an extra piece of the grid paper that you can buy in my Stamparatus. So, depending on what stamp set we use, I will show you the technique. So I used the bird from Happy Holidays. I love this set. I like the sayings, and I paired it when I made this card. I love the textures in this gorgeous leaf. So I used this texture right here for just to add a little background in. And I also used Christmas season for my pine cones and my leaves. And I love, you know, the berry bush, the winter berries. You could do those, and their winter berries are lots of colors. I used Poppy Parade on this one because I wanted something bright. But I've also used Bumblebee, and I've seen, I think there's maybe a blue color. I like to use Pinterest when I'm looking up possibilities and things that I want to use. So I also played with some other things that are just in the catalog. So you might have some favorites. I used Free as a Bird. So the stamp goes this direction, but I was able to make it go the other way. I also love doing my snowmen. I do this all the time. So I did this. This was that's backwards. So this is the one that was the reverse. And I stamped regular on this. So on this side, he's reversed and he's not. And then, so I played with that. That's gray ink. And then this is the Memento black. And then here's some more of the bird. And so I just did it different ways. And then I used some Pampered Pets. And this set has a die with it. So I wanted to show you how I stamped this kitty cat, and I got my reverse image. He's on the other side. And I'm going to show you how we can die cut this. So, do you guys want to make a Christmas card today? Would you like to just make a general snow card? Because this, or a winter card, snow card. Don't mind me. A winter card. You could use snowmen for winter birthdays, which we have. My husband's uncle's birthday is coming up in November, and he loves snow, so I like to make him birthday cards with my snowmen. Or we can just do a thank you card or any occasion card, and we can do the birds. Or do you want to do the same exact card that I made for the sample? So let me know, what do you want to make? Because then I'm going to show you how to stamp your image. Thanks for sharing, Vicki. Let's see. I may be delayed. So, I'm just trying to see if anybody is commenting. So I can make this exact one, or we can do something different. But at the end, I am going to show you how to cut out the cat that I reverse image stamped. Okay, and so when I do this technique, I do have, if you use photopolymer stamps, you will need your foam insert for your Stamparatus. And then I just have a little cloth here that I use to wipe this off. Jenny says, do the cat, and Vicki says, do the bird. Okay, so I can show you the cat, and I'll show you how to die cut it. And you know, you might want a cat or one of those Pampered Pet dogs. We do have that cute set in the mini catalog that has the pets with the stockings. So when you're making Christmas cards, if you're making them personal to people, those might be images that you do use. Good morning, Tracy. So the cat, I'm definitely going to show you how I stamped it and then how I die cut it. Vicki says, do the bird with happy birthday. So instead of, don't make it a Christmas card, or don't use the holly, or let me know your thoughts on that. So I have tons of little pieces over here. I'm going to show you the technique, and then we can make a card. So the first thing I do is I grab the stamp that I want to make the reverse or mirror image of. And you do kind of want to think about where you want it on your paper. So this is the very first one that I did, and I just stuck them right in the middle. So this might work if you were making a birthday card and you wanted to add in some fall leaves or winter. No, you're fine, Vicki. That's why I ask. I want to know. I know this morning the juices, sometimes they just aren't They just aren't flowing this early. I do have my coffee. Anybody else? I'm still on my first cup. So, when you stamp your paper, you do want to think about where you're going to put it. Now, I'm not putting it into the corner because I want to make sure that I can get a lot of pressure. So I'm just going to put my bird down here. And so sometimes you might want to, you're going to lay this piece down onto the silicone mat. So just something to think about when you're planning your card. It's not the end of the world if it goes in the wrong spot, because we're going to lay that white piece down where we want it. So I'm just picking up my stamp. Oh, Vicky, cup 3. I haven't even been up long enough to have 3 cups, but I will probably get there today. So I'm just inking this bird. And like I said, we can still do whatever. If you guys want to do a cat, we can. I love this bird. It's nice and big, and it really fills up the card. And you can always do a layered card too. I did a simple stamped card, but you could die cut all those things and layer it in front of your bird. So what we're going to do is I inked that up with my Memento black ink. And I'm going to close the plate right onto that Silicone Craft Mat. And I just want that ink to get onto the mat. And I don't know how well you can see, but the bird has stamped over here. And I do have this pushed into the corner so that I don't have to use any magnets. So what I'm going to do now is I like to do this about 3 times, 2 to 3 times. And what I'm doing is I'm just putting as much ink over onto that Silicone Craft Mat as I can. And this little bird is very detailed. Some things, it just kind of depends on the stamp. Some things you don't have to put that much ink over there, but it's just easier for me to put more and know that I have enough because I don't know exactly where I'm putting my paper. I don't have any of that marked, so I'm just gently lifting it back up, and you'll notice there's still a lot of ink over here on your stamp. That's okay. And I'm going to do it one more time. Just going to hold it there for a second. I want as much ink as possible to lay over onto this silicone mat. And it may not look like much when you're looking at it, but you'll notice it does keep getting darker. So I have, I pre-cut tons of white layers so that I have them on hand. And these are 5 inches by 3 3/4 inches. And what I'm going to do is I have to think about if I want my card to be landscape or portrait. So I made this one portrait, and I'm going to stick him kind of off to the side here. So I'm just laying this on top of that image. And then to get it to transfer, I'm just going to close my plate again and press down. And I'm going to rub this really well and make sure that I get all that ink picked back up onto my cardstock. So if you're making a card and you think, oh, I just wish, you know, my animal, my bird, my tree outline, whatever it is, my stocking, this would probably work on those stocking stamps. I don't have those. But if you wanted then to go a different direction, this is how you would do it. And so the most of the planning is where you want that reverse image to be when you lay down your white paper. So now I've stamped this image the way it goes, and when I lift this up, on the other side is our reverse image. And that's why I said when you lay this down, you just want to make sure where you want that on your page. Now if you're die cutting it, it's not going to matter, but if you're making your card, then you just want to make sure you're getting it where you want it to go, especially if you, like on this one, I was going to do my birds facing each other, or maybe one up here and one down here. I didn't get it quite low enough, so there's the normal image when you stamp, and there's the reverse. So typically when I do this technique and I'm using birds or whatever, I want the birds facing each other. And I'm just using this microfiber cloth to wipe that off. And it wipes off, it just cleans up really easy. So now I'm going to take this one off, and I'll show you the cat. And like I said, you could use that cat on a Christmas card, you could make it a birthday card, or whatever. If somebody loves pets, they would love to get one with a cat on it. So I have tons of images to work with here. Now this set does not have a die, but you could just cut around it with scissors. So we'll make this card in a second. And it doesn't have to say Merry Christmas. So on the cat card, I'm going to stamp one up here since I'm die cutting it. But this is so cute. So you can turn any of these animals around. Let me see. Let's do a little doggy this time. And then I'll show you how I die cut them. And I also stamped this in gray. So I'll do this one in gray so you can see. I will say not all ink colors. For whatever reason, I've done this with early espresso, and sometimes it looks a little fuzzier. Maybe it was me, maybe it was just my technique. So I'm just laying him on my craft mat, picking him up. And I'm going to use the gray. Now this is just the basic gray craft ink, the classic ink. I love these little pet stamps. I need one that looks like my doggy. He doesn't have a stamp. So again, I'm just pressing down, I'm re-inking. I really want a lot of ink to be over here, and sometimes that it can get a little fuzzy. So you just want to make sure that you're not sliding that silicone craft mat, so that you can get it as much as possible. And you can actually see the ink laying on top of that. Will it work with colored cardstock? Yes, it works with any of the cardstocks. I just usually do white if I'm going to color something. But yes, I could stamp this onto a gray cardstock and have my dogs already gray. So what I'm going to do is I turned this upside down. We're going to die cut these anyways. And I'm just laying him down there. And then I'm going to close it. And again, you want to make sure that you're pressing really hard and that you're firm pressure, I should say. And rubbing this around so that it will pick up all of that ink. You want it to really soak in. And then there's your reverse image dog. And see, he just looks a little fuzzier than your stamp on the other side. So I'm going to pull in my mini cut and emboss, and I'm going to show you how you can die cut this now. Let me close my inks before I end up with ink all over me. And remember, when you're storing your inks, here's a little tip. I don't know if I say this very often, but you'll notice I turned my Memento upside down once I put the lid on. So the Memento ink, the pad's like this, and when you put the lid on, all your ink is going to stay in the bottom of your pad. So you want to flip that over so it stays fresh on the top. And then our ink pads do that automatically when they close. So when they're open, the foam is up, and then when you flip it to close it, that ink pad's actually, the foam's actually upside down to keep that ink fresh to the top of your foam. So just FYI on that. Okay, so we're done with our Stamparatus. I'm going to put it off to the side here. So this week, I think we're down to like week 8. 8 weeks to Christmas. Anybody else find that completely crazy that time feels like we're flying? And this week, last week I did the Peaceful Deer, or this past week, I'm still playing with it. And I've done a couple color combos and another bundle. And so this week, I am going to be showcasing my favorite tools. Stampin' Up! Has some of the best tools, I think. And we have this cute little mini cut and emboss, so I'm going to use that to cut my pets. And I might have to trim it a little bit. I think it'll fit. So this is the mini, and you'll see this is my cutting plate. So for this one, I need number 1 and number 2. And Stampin' Up! Has these numbered, and it tells you exactly what the plate's for and what to do. So you get 2 number 2 plates. Those are your clear plates for cutting. And then these plates also come with it. So number 3 is for embossing in folders. And number 4 is 3D embossing folders. And so you'll use those in place of the number 2 plates. And it tells you with the diagram exactly what to do, what to use it with. So I love this little mini. And then I'm going to use these. These are called the Pets dies. It goes with the Pampered Pets. And you'll notice we have the cat and the dog. So this is a really cute set. So we're going to use this dog and this cat. And my plates do bend. You'll see I've used this a little bit. I'm just going to flip that over, and it's going to bend back the other way. So let's do our dog first. So obviously it doesn't go with my reverse image. So I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to actually die cut it from this way. That's why I find it helpful when I leave my stamp inked and I put it the other way so that I can die cut it. And I'm just grabbing a piece of Post-it tape to help hold my die in place while I cut. Now, the punches, if something had a punch and you were reverse imaged, that again, if you stamp the image again right on top of that reversed image, then it's going to help you line it up. So then I'm just putting plate number 2 on top. Oops. My work surface here is a little, it's a little, I can't get my thing going. I'm slipping and sliding here. Okay. There we go. My mat underneath of all of this is slippery. So there we have the correct direction that the stamp normally stamps, and then we have the reverse image. And he's die cut out all ready for our card. And we're going to do the same thing with the cat. So we're going to flip it over. Might need to trim this just a tad. I'm just going to trim this out so that it goes through there a little bit better. So I'm going to lay this down, and a lot of times these dies go through better when they're not going through all at once like this. So here's our normal image and how it stamps, the direction that it stamps. Slipping and sliding here. That's all right. I'll get us all fixed up in a second. So there's the way it die cuts, and then there's our reverse image on the back. Isn't that fun? So now your cat and your dog can go the direction you want them to go. Yes. Good morning, Danette. Yes, Vicki, anytime. Now, I have not tried like the reverse image technique and picking it up on like a wood surface or anything. I would imagine it would work very similar, but the Stamparatus, you just have to be careful of the thickness. So my favorite part about our new cut and emboss machines are they fold up nice and neat, and you can store them on your shelf. Okay, so that is how you do the reverse image and then die cut. So here's our card for today. I did the bird first, so if you're just joining me, you're welcome, Jenny. Have a great day. Hopefully, I know I will text you later, and so I hope your day goes well. So we're gonna make this card, and I just simple stamped. So the bird actually stamps this direction. Here's our stamp. I love this bird too, Danette. I seriously bought this set mostly for the bird. I do love the big Noel, and I love some of these sayings, but I think this bird, even though it's in our mini catalog and it's shown as a Christmas set, this bird can be used for every single season. I love birds, so anytime we get new bird stamps, I collect those. So it stamps this direction, and so I did the reverse image, and I stamped this way. So that's what we're going to use for our card. And on this card, I just simple stamped. Like I said, you could stamp all of these, have matching coordinating dies. And so I could have stamped these and die cut and made a layered card. But I just simple stamped. So that's what I'm going to do again today, just to try to stay on time. And then I love the texture stamps in the gorgeous leaves, so I used that in the background as well. So let me grab, okay, here's another, I'm going to grab some of these pieces, and I used Mossy Meadow for my card base. So what I want to know is, because I'm grabbing my inks, do you want Poppy Parade berries like I did on this one, or would you like to see Bumblebee? Because I like to use Bumblebee as well. So I used Old Olive, Mossy Meadow, Soft Suede, and Crumb Cake. And I might even go darker. I might go darker on those. Ooh, Night of Navy. Good. That's a good one too. And the other choice, so I'm just grabbing a bunch of ink pads right now. The other thing is I colored my bird in with blends, and I just used crumb cake. I didn't do anything special. So we could also make the bird a blue. I know it's unusual, but my blue jays actually stay around for winter. And I know mostly it's just, I forget what these birds, little brown birds are called that usually stick around. But we could also do a blue bird and the bumblebee branches. So let me know what colors you want for the bird. Do you want to stay with crumb cake or do you want to change it up? So I just grabbed some things really quick. Oh, I need... So I just grabbed a ton of stuff and we're just going to play. And later on, I think I'm going to use that cat and dog and I'm actually going to make maybe a Christmas card with them too. Crumb cake bird, Vicky says. Okay. So, I think I want on my original card, I used crumb cake and soft suede for my pine cones, and I think I want them a little bit darker. So I'm gonna grab my Stampin' Pierce mat because the Christmas season set is photopolymer, so you'll want this mat when you stamp those parts. Ooh, a chickadee. That's a good one too. So I'm going to color my bird first, and then I'm going to stamp on top. So I'm just going to lay some color on really quick. Again, I usually like to color, I usually do blue. I usually do a Night of Navy and Balmy Bluebird when I do my Christmas cards. But this is a nice change. I'm just throwing some dark on there. I'm not being precise. So I used light and dark crumb cake. And I brought my color lifter over because I am going to lift or push through some of this color. I want to lighten them up a little bit. It's like I want crumb cake, but I just want it a tad lighter. So that's how I'm going to achieve that, is it's going to take some of that color and push it through. And when you're coloring with blends, just make sure that you have something underneath because it will bleed through. You're not doing anything wrong if that happens. Joe just made an appearance. He just woke up. Good morning, Joe. So there we have that. And then I want to show you for my beak, I wanted it a little bit darker. So I used light basic black, and I just put it on the tip of my little bird's beak. And then I used the dark crumb cake to kind of blend that out. And change that color a little bit. So do not be afraid to layer your blends, different colors, and see how it comes out. Don't be afraid to experiment. And I'm just going to darken the eye a little. Now, if you wanted that, it kind of has a white dot. So when you look on the other side, the eye actually has a little white dot. You could use the Stampin' Up! Chalk marker or the white watercolor pencil to add in a little white dot in there if you wanted that. So what I'm going to do with my color lifter is I want this just to be around the eye to be a little lighter. So I'm just going around, and I also want some lighter spots here. And so if you continue to go over it, it will take all the color off. But if you just go over it a little bit, it just takes a little bit of the color and pushes it through. So there's my little bird. And see, where I used that color lifter, it also pushed it through a little bit more. So the best part is, if you decide you don't like this bird, well, this one has color on it too. So there's that. Now let me bring in what I do. Oh, there it is. So I'm going to move those off to the side, and I'm going to slide this under my grid paper, and then we're just going to start stamping. And I did just layer it, so it's okay to cover up a little bit of your bird. I used the smaller pine cone. I just thought the big one, I wish there was like a size in between those two, but I just kind of thought this was a little too big. Of course, maybe not. I have some pretty big pine cones at my house, and so that probably is about the size to the little bird that's out in my yard. So it's up to you if you want the big pine cone or the small one. You're not going to get too many if you use the big. What do you guys think? You want to try the big pine cone? I used the small one on this card. And then I'm also going to use this little pine needles and these. I'm grabbing some blocks here. So what do you guys think? You want to try the big pine cone or stick with the smaller one? All right. Vicki says the big one and partially off the card. So you can see I have been using these Pinecone stamps quite a bit. I love this stamp set. And even though it's called Christmas season, I really think it can make any kind of winter cards. I just love all the different leaves. So I'm taking some things out that I want to use, and I'm just putting them on my cover so I don't misplace them. And we'll try this big pine cone. So these two layer. So this is your base, and then you have this detailed stamp. And I have to say, I haven't always layered it perfect, but we're gonna go with it. Tracy says small. Maybe we should do one big and one small. What do you think? We certainly could do that. I mean, pine cones do come in all sizes. And on the original card, I used crumb cake for the base and soft suede. But I think I'm going to change it up and do them a little bit darker and do soft suede and early espresso. I just want it to be a little bit darker because I do want it to cover up his little tail. So we'll do one big and one small. If you don't have this Christmas season set, it comes as a bundle too. It should really be on your list. It's gorgeous. You could even make fall cards. Pine cones are on my trees for a long time. So, okay, mine are very sticky. Okay, so I'm inking the bottom part of the pine cone, the full base. I'm doing that in soft suede, and it's going to be really dark. And I'm just putting it right over his tail. He's tucked in behind that. Gosh, that's really juicy. I hope my early espresso actually covers that. If not, no big deal. Yes, I normally do too, Tracy, but he's kind of hiding on this card. And actually, if you made him, if he was blue or something else, that would be more of a focal point than the crumb cake bird. Or, I know, like goldfinches, they don't stay gold in the winter. They actually are a different color. That just blows my mind. But I have a ton of purple finches around. So now I'm doing that detail stamp, and I might have to stand up. I'm doing that detail stamp. So soft suede's not normally this dark. My pad's really juicy. And I'm doing that detailed stamp in the early espresso. So the soft suede came out a little bit darker than I intended. Oh yeah, true, Danette. You could do your pine cones green. That's right. I forgot that they were green when they first came on. We have tons of pines, so I feel like that's I actually wondered if I could sell them. Like, we have so many that come off of our trees. We actually pick them up and put them in buckets. I don't know what you would do with them. I've never done anything with them. Do you guys do any kind of crafts with pine cones? Now, I'm going to do a little pine cone over here. And I'm going to show you a little trick that I do. Here's another tip. You guys get a bonus tip today. When I feel like my ink pad is too juicy, I keep these plastic spoons with my ink refills. And you can take this and very gently, what I'm doing is I'm moving the ink. So I've re-inked this at some point and maybe just re-inked it a little bit too much. I don't want to pull all the ink out of my pad. So what I'm doing is I'm just moving the ink. I'm taking the spoon and I'm sliding the ink to one side. And a lot of times when you do it, you can actually see a lighter spot. This one's super juicy. And so I'm just trying, I'm sliding and then lifting it up. Trying to push that ink off to the side a little bit. We'll see if it helps. And then I keep baby wipes nearby, always. And then I just wipe my spoon off. And it's ready to go for the next time I need to use it. Oh, Vicki, I probably do. I don't know. I haven't been out there, but you know you're welcome to them. So I just wiped my spoon off. Now let's see. Pull this back in. Let's see how it stamps. So I'm going to pick up some of that soft suede, and I'm going to stamp it over here. And I didn't really go off the page too much, but you can kind of see it's definitely a little bit lighter, and I probably need to remove a little bit more ink because it is stamping quite dark. So then I just cleaned that one off, and then I'm going to come in with Early Espresso with that layering detailed stamp. See, I do that too, Dana, and then I was telling my husband, I buy these pine cones, and I have them in my yard. So there's the detailed stamp, and the crumb cake may have worked just fine. But I just wanted to try it a little bit darker. So now we know. And one of the things I also do is a lot of times I stamp on my grid paper to test out my color combinations. So Stampin' Up! Sells this grid paper. It's great to protect your work surface, and it's actually 16 inches by, I don't know, about 10 or so, and it has the grid lines on it to help you line things up. And I use it till it literally has no empty space on there. I use it over and over again. And the pack is quite, I think it has like 100 sheets, so it lasts quite a while. It's not something that you have to buy every day. So my next thing that I have is I'm going to stamp this, and I'm going to do it pretty dark. It's going to be in Mossy Meadow, so hopefully it shows up really well like it did with the crumb cake. And I like to test this. My Mossy Meadow sometimes needs a little help. Oh, it's good. When it sits for a long time, I use a spoon and I go over my pad to get my ink flowing again. So if you haven't used your pad in a while, you can use your plastic spoon and go over your ink pad. So I'm just going to start stamping this, and it shows up okay. My pine cones are probably a little dark. And I actually did it down here, and then I did it down here. So you're just going to stamp it around. That looks pretty dark, doesn't it? Oh yes, me too, Dana. I love that the grid paper has a ruler. So I actually use that to my advantage all the time. It's a tool built right into it. I'm just trying to put my stamps back before I misplace them, because the other day I dropped this little branch on the floor, and I thought I was never going to find it. So, and then I used Old Olive for this one. I just wanted something a little bit lighter in there. And I just re-inked this last night, so we'll see. This might stamp a little dark. Let me clean that off. So when I re-ink, sometimes I take that spoon and I massage the ink pad to get the ink in. And I didn't do that last night. I just stuck the ink on. So I'm just moving it around and kind of pushing it gently. You don't want to gouge your foam. I'm just using that spoon to push my ink down in there. And then clean it off with my little baby wipe here. And when I use baby wipes, I use the scent-free, sensitive, so that it doesn't have any extra things. So I'm just testing that. So this will stamp a little bit darker because I've used this color a ton. So I was re-inking it last night. And it almost looks like that Mossy Meadow because I've re-inked it. So you can stamp off and get some lighter ones in there. I just wanted a little extra. I like it to be a little bit busy. I mean, after all, when you look at your pine tree, there's stuff going every which way. Okay. So here in a bit, I may even take my spoon and move that a little bit more because I do want my old olive to be a little bit lighter. Okay, so the next thing I stamped, I'm getting piled up over here, was my berries. Okay, so the original berries were Poppy Parade. Do you guys want to try Night of Navy or Bumblebee? Good morning, Dad. And then I'm going to actually stamp that textured stamp last. So, let me get these on my blocks here while we wait. So don't forget, this week coming up, I'm going to show you some of my favorite tools as our week 8 of Christmas. And coming up in November, I will be offering, I don't know if Stampin' Up! Is going to offer a Black Friday special, but I will. I'll probably just do something for the weekend, but I will be having something. Let me see, I want a smaller. On the smaller block. Okay. So I've got those ready to go. So what do you guys think? You want to try dark berries or the Bumblebee? I typically use Bumblebee. And then we're going to use, let's do crumb cake for the branches. Yeah, I have seen blue winter berries. I don't have anything that has blue winter berries, but I've seen that they can be blue, red, really deep red, and yellow, which I love yellow. I love doing them yellow. Anybody else have a vote? Vicki says Night of Navy. I don't have anything on my property that has winter berries. I need to get something because, well, I do have red ones, I think, but I would like to have the other varieties. Okay, Danette votes yellow. I need a tiebreaker. I love both of them, actually. I like to do all different colors. Okay, Tracy says blue. All right, Danette, I know you voted yellow, so don't forget, later I will post some more, and I will use the yellow, because I do love that color. So we're going to go with Night of Navy. Okay, so I'm going to stamp my branch in crumb cake. And I'm just filling in here let's put some up this way. So you can put on as many as you like. And I like this card, and I have lots of extras stamped, so I will definitely be making some more. So then we're going to do the berries in the Night of Navy. And make sure that you pick a good sized block to fit your stamp so that when you ink it up, you have less chance of rocking it and getting ink around the edge. So these berries line up right on my stem. Oh, I love it. Love it, love it. There we go. Now you'll notice that my berries are very stained because I've used all different kinds of dark colors. So when you use Night of Navy or Blackberry Bliss, or even the reds for sure, Poppy Parade, and all the reds will stain your stamps like this. That is okay. It just means they're well loved. Ooh, I actually haven't used Night of Navy for my berries. I think I've used Balmy Blue, or I've used a blue, but I don't think I've used Night of Navy. Okay, so for my texture that I want to add in the background, when I simple stamp, I love adding textures. It's a great way to create depth on your card. That's just one layer. So this is from that Gorgeous Leaves, and I am going to stamp that in Pool Party. And I don't need this foam pad anymore because this is a red rubber stamp. And what I'm going to do is, I got something on there. That's okay. I'm actually going to stamp this even over my bird. So I don't want it to be really dark. So I'm just tapping, I'm picking up, I'm stamping off, and then I'm stamping my paper. Because I want it to be very light and subtle. So don't forget to add in those textures. You're going to see. I wanted it to be everywhere to fill in. I did leave a little bit of white space. I love Pool Party. It is seriously one of my most used colors. I love it for backgrounds, especially wintry cards. I do use Balmy Blue sometimes, but Balmy Blue is definitely a brighter blue. This is more of a teal, you know, in my favorites. So that's how I did the background. Hopefully you can see it. It's pretty subtle, but it's enough that it just breaks up the white background. And then, okay, so we've stamped all our things. So do you guys want to stamp it Christmas Blessings to you and yours? On this one, I stamped the inside. I didn't stamp any leaves or anything. You definitely could put, you know, more berries or something in there. Wishing your family health and happiness throughout the coming year. I love that. It also has sharing the promise of the season, and it has Noel. So what do you guys think? Do you want to say Christmas Blessings, Happy Christmas, or Noel? And you could also, like I said at the beginning of the video, if you have lots of winter birthdays, or even someone who loves nature. This doesn't have to necessarily be winter. My pine trees have stuff on for most of the year. So this is more like just a nature scene. And so you could stamp this thank you. You could stamp it happy birthday. Like I said, we have my husband's uncle absolutely loves snow, and his birthday's in November, and so I always use snowmen on his cards. So what do you guys think? Do you want to make it into another Christmas card? I'm going to be stamping in the Mossy Meadow, and I'm going to grab a Mossy Meadow base, because I forgot to grab my card base. So I keep a lot of cardstock pre-cut in just a plastic container. So I cut, I score, and then I cut the sheets in half, and then I have card bases all ready to go. So I grabbed another one. I grabbed crumb cake as well. Let's see which one we like. I use a lot of green card bases in the winter. But crumb cake is a great option as well, or soft suede. It might sound weird to use a soft suede card base for Christmas, but I love it because those neutrals help those other colors that you've used pop, like the Night of Navy Winter Berries. Yes, it would be perfect. It would be perfect as any occasion. So these sets are great. So you could use crumb cake and see how that blue pops. And you can also use the Mossy Meadow. Okay, Christmas blessings. I am in need of tons of Christmas cards right now. I have to say I am way behind on my own, which is normal. That's why mine do not get mailed until about the second week of December. So everyone gets mine a little late. Sometimes I have to make them as a New Year's card. I'm just trying to make sure that my stamp set is straight. So what do you think? Do you want to do the crumb cake base or the Mossy Meadow? And I'm just going to stamp this in the middle. Hopefully I can get it nice and straight. And another bonus for having the grid paper is you can use these lines to make sure your paper's straight and then line up your block. Beautiful. Vicky says crumb cake. Yeah, I love using a variety. The best thing would be if you stamped a bunch of your layers and then stamped them all and colored them. You could even use the Stamparatus to place your pine cones and, you know, make your multiple cards. And then assembly line and use a bunch of different layers. And then even though you have essentially the same card, look how different it looks. And of course I would stamp my basic white for the inside. Put that in there. So let's grab some glue. Now, a way to step this up, I've already said if you have the dies, obviously you could die cut this and really tuck your bird in. If you don't want a simple stamp, if you want to step it up. The other thing you can do really easy to step this up is pop this up on dimensionals instead of adhering it flat. So if you're looking at ways to step up your cards or try something a little bit different, just next time you order, add some dimensionals to your order and use those instead of gluing everything flat. So we're going to pop him up with some dimensionals. Ooh, yeah, you could definitely use Wink of Stella. Love Wink of Stella. I just ordered a new one. I think mine's pretty much empty. I've been using it so much. I also love to use Wink of Stella when I'm doing the snowmen, so it looks like they're glistening. I mean, snow glistens, so you definitely want to have that. Okay, I'm just going to try to make this even. And so So my basic white is 5 inches by 3 3/4. You'll notice that it leaves a wide border. You could layer this up. I think I got a little crooked there, but maybe not. You could definitely layer it up and step it up quite a bit, but I just like making simple cards. I think I did get crooked. I'll have to gently pull this up and try to rearrange. Maybe. Where's my... Let's see if I can pull it over just a tad. I might need some new dimensionals. Oops. Don't want that to happen. Okay, let me try to straighten this up just a tad. If I can. It's hard to do sitting. You're not over top of your project. There we go. Thanks for joining, Dana. Have a great day. So there we have it, our original card. And then this one we changed it up with a different base and Night of Navy Berries. And I made my pine cones just a tad darker. I'm not sure which way I love it. My soft suede's really juicy, so it's stamped a little bit darker. You could always stamp off and then stamp it. So I hope you guys have loved this, and you're going to see lots of things this week on my page for my favorite tools, and the Stamparatus is one of them. So I'm going to be creating a list, and the best thing that you can do right now is if you want to step up your cards, is to invest in the cut and emboss machine. I would I have both sizes, but if you want to do lots of things and embossing with the embossing folders, then the best thing to have is the bigger one, because it goes with it can use everything can be used with it. It's a bigger platform. So then you can take advantage of all those bundles and things that have dies and adding texture. So if you're ready to step it up, I'm going to be talking about the cut and emboss machine coming up this week, because I think it's just, if you're ready to go to the next level, it is the next tool that you're going to need. I also want to remind you, sorry for my printer, the colors are a little off, but the Gifts Galore Paper Pumpkin is, you can sign up until November 10th, and you want to make sure you get this kit. It's going to make these really cute 3D treats. There are 9 oversized treat boxes, and I think it's 3 different designs, so 3 each of 3 designs. It has this really cute pool party and poppy parade box, and they're actually telling us the spot ahead of time, which I don't ever recall happening. So this box is going to have a flirty flamingo spot. And I can't wait. So the colors are the color scheme that I used last week. The flirty flamingo, poppy parade, pool party, evening evergreen, and old olive. So you know it's going to be cute. I absolutely loved that color scheme. So I can't wait to get it. And I just opened my other paper pumpkin from October that coordinates with the Peaceful Place, and it is gorgeous. So paper pumpkin is a great investment. It's also a great gift idea. It is, in the US, it's $22 plus tax. So that $22 that you do for the monthly subscription includes the shipping fee. You can also buy prepaid codes. You do have to pay tax and shipping on that based on how the Stampin' Up! Order. So that tax and shipping can seem a little bit higher than if you do the monthly subscription. But you certainly could buy the prepaid code and gift a subscription if you have a grandma, a daughter, an aunt, uncle, anybody. Kids can do them. Sometimes they're cards, sometimes they're treat bags. If a kit is coming and you don't want treat bags, like the the September kit was for fall or Halloween treats. You could always skip a month if you don't want to get that month. But it comes with the Stampin' Spot, which helps you collect the inks. This is what the spots look like. They're little inks. You can use the ink refills on these, and I store my spots upside down. And it also comes with an exclusive stamp set. So I want to make sure that nobody misses that, because they're always good during the holidays, and I love throughout the other times of the year you get all occasion stamps, and again you get to collect those ink colors, which I love. So everybody have a wonderful Saturday. Hope you enjoyed the mirror image or reverse image technique with the Stamparatus. And this gives your stamps a whole new range for your card making. So take care. Thanks for joining me. If you loved my video, don't forget to give me some hearts. Show me some love on there. And share my video with your crafty friends. Everybody can benefit from the mirror image technique. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, this will be on YouTube sometime coming up this week. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like my video. Take care and have a wonderful day.